Hello, good morning, everybody. Thanks for being here for our Facebook Live video. Today, we have a lot of really important stuff to cover. And if you have a family history of type 2 diabetes, if you're pre-diabetic, or if you have type 2 diabetes, what we're going to be covering today is vitally important for you and your health, because the main message is that in order for you to get better and to reduce your risk for all of the things associated with type 2 diabetes, you've got to do things differently, and you've got to improve insulin resistance or increase insulin sensitivity. And that's what we're going to be talking about today. Before I get started here, in the description of the video, there's a link there that you can click on to download an outline, a one-page outline of this talk. And it's there for you to take some notes while I'm talking, so that you don't have to sit and remember everything that's been covered. So click on that link and download and print that thing out. And we'll get you going as we move along here. So the first thing I want to tell you is a little bit about me and my background. I don't know if you've seen any of the stuff on me on our Facebook page or our website, but I'll give you a little bit of a background to kind of set the stage of whether or not what I'm going to be talking about today is important, or whether or not you should be listening to it. So my name is Brian Sakula, and I have a PhD in physiology and statistics. I used to work at NASA with astronauts and pilots, and we did a lot of research on zero gravity and health. Kind of a big general term, but I worked there for about 6 years or so at Johnson Space Center. I left there and became a professor at the University of Houston, and I taught classes in physiology, research design, cardiovascular disease, all those kinds of things to graduate and undergraduate students. Got tired of working for the government, and I started Health Performance Institute just over 13 years ago now. So what do we do at the Health Performance Institute? We really work with two groups of people, and we work in kind of two factions of industry. So with the Health Performance Institute, the two groups of people that we work with are individuals that are diagnosed with any combination of type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. The other group is any person that is at risk for any of those conditions. So that's the people that we work with. And in terms of how we work, or the other aspect, we work with companies to help their employees that fall into one of those two groups. We also work with individuals through our Facebook page and other means to help people that fall into one of these groups. They're either diagnosed or at risk. So with that being said, our focus is on type 2 diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol. Of those three, type 2 diabetes is right in our wheelhouse. It's our bread and butter. It's the thing that we are the most effective at. And because we focus on it a lot, simply because what I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes on why you need to address this issue. Simply taking medication is not enough for you. And I'm going to get into the details as to why here in just a second. So that's a little bit about me and our company. And when we work with these individuals and we help them, we do so mainly through this program called the Academy. And the Academy is a lifestyle-based educational program that's focused on food, sleep, stress, and exercise. And those are the things we're going to be talking about here in just a few minutes. And really, the Academy, it's the best, as far as I'm concerned, and our outcomes are concerned, it's the best damn program you can find, particularly for type 2 diabetes, but in general for anything as it relates to blood pressure and cholesterol, but specifically for type 2 diabetes. It's a serious program. We take our customers very seriously. We're dedicated to helping them. And what we like to say, it's a serious program for serious people. So if you are serious about making some changes, this is the place you need to be, because, like I said, we're the best damn program around when it comes to fixing these problems. And we will be totally dedicated to helping you achieve those objectives. Now, with that out of the way, why should you as an individual do things differently? Why do you need to be here? Why are you listening to me? And why am I telling you that you need to do things differently? Well, if you're already diagnosed, you may know this inherently. If you're not diagnosed, if you're pre-diabetic, or if you have a family history, if you don't do things differently, you are going to find out eventually. But the issue here is when you're a type 2 diabetic, what is the one thing that you are told to always do? You're told to take your medication and control your blood sugar, right? And we hear that all the time. Secondarily to that, we hear also that we're going to have this condition for the rest of our lives. But what you may not hear, and I'm going to say what you likely don't hear, is that taking medication to control your blood sugar is not enough. That is the issue. And that is why, in the long run, your risk for all of these conditions that are related to type 2 diabetes, vision problems, kidney problems, liver problems, circulatory problems, amputations, pain, all these other things, your risk goes up and it never goes down, and it increases every day, by the way, simply because you're not doing anything to fix the problem. The reason your risk for these things goes up is because elevated blood sugar is toxic to all tissue in your body. That's why the doctors want you to take your medication to lower your blood sugar. But no one is telling you, or no one seems to be answering the question, why is your blood sugar elevated in the first place? Well, the reason your blood sugar is elevated in the first place is because your insulin doesn't work like it should. It's insulin resistance. And so what happens when you're pre-diabetic, or family history, or certainly when you're a type 2 diabetic, is that when your insulin stops working, your insulin levels go up. And as they go up, they're trying to, and the reason they're going up is that the insulin is trying to reduce your blood sugar. Well, when it doesn't work, it takes more insulin to do that job. That's why your insulin levels are up. When you only take medication to control your blood sugar, you're not doing anything to insulin. You're not reducing it, and you're certainly not doing anything to make it work better. That's the problem. So just a second ago I said chronically elevated blood sugar is bad for your body. So taking medication is a good thing. But just as bad for your body, and maybe even worse for your body, is chronically elevated insulin levels. So you've got two things working against you that are neither one of which is good. Elevated blood sugar, elevated insulin. You're taking medication to lower your blood sugar, but you're not doing anything to lower your insulin levels. That's a problem, and that's the problem long term, because it's bad for the tissue, all the tissues in your body. And that's why your risk for things like vision problems, liver problems, kidney problems, all of those things, that's why they don't go down over time. That's why they get worse over time, because you're not doing anything to address those. And believe me, I'm not here to chastise you or get mad at you. You don't even know that you're supposed to be doing that. Somewhere, someone along the way should be telling you this, that, hey, I need to make sure that you understand you've got to do things to control your insulin as well. Because if you don't, it doesn't matter what you do. You can take all the medication in the world, and it's not going to help you long term. It's not going to reduce your risk. And so you've got all these forces working against you. You've got an environment that makes it easy for you to make bad food decisions. You've got all of these people over here giving you advice that's not helping you. It just controls your blood sugar. And, you know, frankly, that's nice, but you might as well just open up your wallet and cross your fingers and close your eyes and hope that your diabetes gets better, because essentially you're not doing much more than that by taking medication to control your blood sugar. That is the issue here. So that's why you need to listen to what I'm going to be talking about here over the next few minutes when we talk about these 4 things that you must do to improve insulin resistance. And then you need to get serious about getting control of this condition. And why do you need to get serious about getting control of this condition? Well, all of these things that are at greater risk because you're not controlling your condition the way it should be controlled, over time, they're going to prevent you from doing things that you want to do. What do you want to do? Take care of your family? Volunteer and help children or other people, work in your community, be the best at something. Whatever it is you want to do, it's going to be compromised if you don't take care of this issue. And so you need to do it now so that you can get a handle on this and make the progress that you want to make. Be serious about these things, and then you don't have to worry about all of that stuff that you want to do, that you dream about, that you think about. Because your insulin will be under control, and when your insulin's under control, your blood sugar's under control. When you control those 2 things, your body's nice and healthy, and you don't have to worry about, oh, what's going to happen to my blood sugar? I hope my doctor renews my prescription fast enough, or any of those things. You don't have to worry about any of that stuff. So, with that out of the way, what are the 4 things that you must do if you want to take care of this problem? If you want to improve insulin resistance and get better, what are those 4 things that you must do? Thing number 1 is you've got to change your diet. This thing about counting calories and eating less food doesn't work for people with type 2 diabetes. And you know why it doesn't work? Because your metabolic system is all jacked up. When your blood sugar is high and your insulin is high, really what's happening from a metabolic perspective is your body has a hard time burning fat tissue. And guess what? When you can't burn fat tissue, you can't lose weight. So losing weight becomes hard. And you know what else this little metabolic problem causes? It causes you to be hungry and crave foods. I don't know a single diabetic that isn't always struggling with being hungry and worrying about their blood sugar and craving foods because of this metabolic problem. So what do you have to do? First of all, you can count calories if you want, but believe me, we've worked with thousands of people since our inception. And we've actually been averaging about 1,500 to 1,800 type 2 diabetics per year over the last 4 or 5 years. And I don't know what the percentage is, but I can count on one hand the number that eat a good diet that's helpful for them. So you're talking about, maybe less than 0.1% of people that we've worked with that eat the way they should. So you've got to fix your diet, and you've got to forget all of this stuff that people tell you about counting carbohydrates, 60 grams of carbohydrate per meal. All that stuff is nonsense. All of it is. In order to improve insulin instance, the diet that you need to eat needs to meet some criteria. Here's the first criteria. One, it needs to feed your body. If you eat a diet that feeds your body, you're going to be less hungry, and you're going to start working to improve your body's ability to burn fat tissue. So, what does a diet that feeds your body look like? Well, it primarily has two ingredients, protein and vegetables, and it has a small amount of starch. So what is starch? We all know what starch is: potatoes, rice, bread, those kinds of things. Any kind of processed food. Either completely eliminate or significantly eliminate all the starch that's in your diet. Vegetables, eat as much as you want. Don't worry about counting those things. They're basically free anyway. And I'll tell you, just as a little sidebar, how many calories do you think there are in a pound of broccoli? Any idea? If you don't know, it's really not much. It's about 75 calories in a pound of broccoli. Are you going to sit down and eat a pound of broccoli? I doubt it. Not in one meal anyway. So if you eat just 1 cup of broccoli, you may have 10 calories. Who cares? 10 calories. There are over 100 calories in a triple double stuffed Oreo. So how many triple double stuffed Oreos can you eat? 4 or 5? Probably. Maybe more. But how many cups of broccoli can you eat without stopping? Maybe 1. So don't worry about the vegetables. Then your protein. Beef, chicken, seafood, pork. You don't worry about any of those things. Don't worry about saturated fat. Don't worry about any of that stuff. Eat all of your meals like this: breakfast, lunch, and dinner, protein and vegetables. And what are you going to do? Well, protein is high in vitamins and minerals. Vegetables are high in vitamins and minerals and fiber. So all of those things are good for your digestive system. All of those things work to feed your body. And if the more consistent you can do that, the more consistently you can do that, the more frequently you can feed your body, the less hungry it's going to be. And guess what? When your body's not as hungry as it always is, it's going to send fewer or even weaker signals to your brain that you're hungry. So you're going to be less hungry. And what happens when you're less hungry? Well, obviously what happens is you're not going to eat as much food. And when you eat less food, caloric consumption goes down. And when that goes down, you end up losing weight. This combination is what you need to do with your food, because what this does, when you remove starch from your diet, you only eat vegetables and protein. When you do that, there is no food that's going to raise your blood sugar. They just won't. Protein, there may be a little bit of a blood sugar spike, but it's nothing compared to cookies and cake and bread and that kind of stuff. Vegetables, nope. I mean, you're going to eat a cup of broccoli and have 6 grams of digestible carbohydrate. That's going to be nothing. Whatever the vegetable is, they're all essentially the same in terms of those caloric value numbers. So, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Your foods need to be primarily protein and fat, and some vegetables. Any of the vegetables that you want. And at the end of the video, I'm going to post the link to where you can get your free gifts. We've got some free gifts for you for attending today. And I need to make myself a note to post that link. So let me do that real quick. And on one of those, when you read the announcement of what we're going to do, we said we'd give you a free gift, and that's the audio, and I'll talk about those in a second, but there's some others in there, and one of those is a shopping list, a sample shopping list that you can use to create your shopping list when you go to the grocery store to go buy your food. And so when you're doing these things and planning out, that's what you need to focus on for the meals that you're going to eat: protein and vegetables. It doesn't matter. Pick the protein you like. If you hate chicken breast because it tastes like leather, fine. pick something else, but make sure it just meets that criteria. Okay, so that's the thing that you need to do with your food and your food choices to improve insulin resistance. And over time, if you consistently do that, over time, your insulin resistance is going to get better and better and better. And as a result of that, your blood sugar control is going to get better and better and better, and you're going to be less reliant on medication. We see it all the time. Today's Tuesday. It must have been last week. We had a lady get off of Januvia, which was costing her a little over $400 a month because of her high deductible plan, Januvia. And she cannot be happier. 2 weeks into not taking it, the highest her blood sugar has been is like 147 or 148 or something like that. It's amazing, but we get these things all the time. Januvia, Invokana, insulin, glucophage, those things are there to control your blood sugar, but you've got to fix insulin. So this approach to what we're telling you now with food is a step in the right direction, and these outcomes that I just described to you, they can be the same for you, but you've got to do it. All right. So that's the first thing: food, protein and vegetables, and almost zero starch. And then you think, oh, that's going to be so hard. You have to look at it from two perspectives. One is, if you want to get better, you don't really have much choice. Right? You think, oh, this person is a multimillionaire. They have all kinds of freedom. Probably they don't. Right? We don't see how hard they work, or they get up at 4 in the morning, or we don't see what they're doing. We just see the money and the lifestyle. We don't really get to see behind the scenes. But if you're diabetic, it's the same thing. You don't really have a lot of choice. If you want to get better, and if you're serious about getting better, you don't really have a choice. Second to that, it's not just about willpower. When you just count calories and eat whatever kind of food you want, then it becomes hard. But when you change your diet, like we just discussed, it becomes easier, because when you're feeding your body, it stops craving those things that you're always desiring. It stops craving the crunchy, salty, sweet, creamy. They may go away completely, because we've had people that they just completely go away. But for a lot of people, they just go down in intensity, how much you crave them. And when it's lower, when your desire to eat those things is lower, it's easier to say no, right? Or it's easier to eat less of it. So when you look at it from two different perspectives, you know, all of my friends are doing this. Well, guess what? All your friends are going to be sick too. Everywhere I go, there's cake. Everywhere I go, there's pizza. Well, so what? You're going to be like them and worrying and complaining and doing nothing about it, or are you going to do something about it? If you want to do something about it, then your choices are limited, right? It's pretty simple. And that's one way to look at it. And the other aspect is, look, I don't know, again, what the percentages are, but it's overwhelming the number of people that come through this program thinking that they're stress eaters, that they're psychological issues that force them to eat cake or eat ice cream or wipe out that whole bag of chips. Well, when you start eating like we tell you to eat, feeding your body, and when you can start burning fat tissue more easily, you can supplement your food needs with fat tissue. And then when your body's doing that, it's going to decrease the signals that go to your brain that make you want to have that whole bag of chips. Those signals get easier to deal with. All right. So that's what we need to do with food. Okay. Now, what's the other thing? The other three things: sleep, stress, and exercise. We're going to cover sleep and stress as the same thing, because really what you need to do is address them both at the same time. So what do you need to be doing about sleep, and what do you need to be doing about stress? Well, when it comes to sleep, again, the percentages are overwhelming, but most people that go through the academy, they don't need to go to bed earlier to get the amount of sleep that they need. What they need to do is in the last hour, preferably hour and a half before they go to bed. So if you go to bed at 11, then starting at 9:30, what you need to do is stop watching TV, get off your phone, get off your iPad, tablet, whatever, turn off all the bright lights in your house and just turn off some softer, less bright lights, and expose yourself to darkness rather than light. And the reason you want to do that is because when it's time for us to go to sleep, our brain in our body, it doesn't have a clock. It doesn't know that it's 11 o'clock right now and it's time to go to sleep. It uses this system called circadian rhythms. All right, and circadian rhythms, when it comes to sleep, are dictated by exposure to light. And so if you're watching TV, or if you've got your phone in your face, or if you're on your iPad or whatever, got bright lights on in the house, all of this sends a message to your brain that the sun is still out. And so when your brain gets this message, it starts to suppress all of the things that it's doing to help you get tired so you can go to sleep. The main thing it does is it starts to suppress melatonin production. And so if you can get into a situation where in the last hour and a half before you go to bed, where you're decreasing the amount of light you're exposing to your body, you're going to allow your body to produce all the melatonin that it needs to, because it's darker and it's sending a signal to the brain, hey, it's getting dark outside, the sun has gone down, it's time for us to start preparing this person to go to sleep. So you need to start doing that. If you start doing that tonight, I promise you, within 2 or 3 days, and if you're consistently doing this, you're going to start sleeping better and you're going to start feeling better. So that's what you need to do with sleep. And that's really important too, because it doesn't matter what condition you're looking at. We're talking about type 2 diabetes today, but it doesn't matter which condition you're looking at. Whether it's cancer, high blood pressure, depression, anything that you can think of, sleep deprivation is positively associated with that condition, which means that when you're not sleeping properly, your risk for that condition goes up. So we need to start sleeping better, and we need to do that quickly. That's not as important as food, but it's pretty important as well. Now for stress, what we need to do is we need to look at things differently. We don't want to eliminate stress, because stress periodically or episodically, every once in a while, provides some good benefit to our body. So we don't want to eliminate it. But what we need to do is change how we look at it. Things are not as stressful as we're making them out to be. Everything that is chronically stressing us out is not a life or death situation. We need to understand that as long as we address whatever is stressing us out, it's going to be okay. That's one thing that you can do. The other thing you can do is, we live in a very noisy world. There's noise everywhere. Noise, noise, noise. What you can do is you can listen to some classical music all day long. Just play it loud enough so that you can hear it, but not so loud that it interrupts the things that you need to do. So what does this do? Well, the classical music, the rhythm of the classical music is very relaxing between our ears hearing it and the communication to our brain. So immediately it will start reducing your stress levels. We have people that subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have some Johann Sebastian Bach playlists there, and they just listen to that all day at work, according to our recommendations, and that recommendation I just gave you. And all of them report that they feel more relaxed, and it's very helpful. So that's the thing that you can do about stress. So those are the 3 things that you must do: food, vegetables and protein. Sleep, reduce your exposure to lights the last hour, hour and a half before bed. Stress, view things differently. You've got to understand that not everything is life and death, and that as soon as you address these things, they're going to go away and get better. And then listening to the music. So our fourth topic is exercise. And what we think you need to understand is that exercise, certainly exercise is important. No matter what you want to do or choose to do. Any kind of exercise is better than none. But as a type 2 diabetic, what do you need to do? Well, for people that are pre-diabetic or have the condition, when they're sitting on the couch and from a metabolic perspective, we call this at rest. From a metabolic perspective, when they're at rest, their body struggles to burn fat tissue. Which means that fits nicely with what we talked about earlier with the food recommendations, that we want to help your body get better at burning fat tissue. So the diet that we talked to you about following, the food recommendations, that helps your body get better at burning fat tissue. But we can exercise in such a way to help get better at burning fat tissue as well. What we tell everybody that's type 2 diabetic is you've got to walk a lot, and then you've got to keep on walking. The objective here is to walk for at least 45 minutes. This nonsense about walking 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the evening being the same, it's not the same. If you're a type 2 diabetic, you need to walk continuously for 45 minutes or an hour. And if you can't do that now, that's okay. You can work to build up to that. But why do you need to walk continuously for 45 minutes? Well, in our whole metabolism of burning calories, what we need to do is burn fat tissue. If we get up and we start going for a walk right now, in the first 20 to 25 minutes, we're not really going to be burning any fat tissue while we're doing that walk, because it takes a while for our metabolism to go from the at rest to adjust to the walking, and then to finally get into the fat tissue burning zone. I'm sure most of you have been on the treadmill where you see the little chart that's on the display there that says cardio zone, interval zone, high intensity zone, fat burning zones. You see whatever they call those things. But the issue here is we want to get into a fat burning zone and stay there as long as we can. For most people that are type 2 diabetic, it takes probably 20 to 25 minutes to even get there. So if you're only walking for 20 minutes, you're just getting there and then you're stopping. And so what we want you to do is to walk for 20 minutes, 25 minutes, get in there, and then keep walking for another 20 to 30 minutes. So you're staying in that fat burning zone for an extended period of time. And what does that do? Well, it's like a sledgehammer to your metabolism. It's like pounding it into submission to get better at burning fat. So that's our main recommendation for people with type 2 diabetics, is to walk a lot, and walk frequently. So almost every day, probably 5 days a week, you want to accumulate at least 5 hours of walking, and most of that being in 45-minute or so increments. And of course, if you're not used to doing that, you're going to have to build up to that. So if you're not used to doing that, then goal number one is to be able to achieve the ability to walk for 45 minutes nonstop. Once you can do 45 minutes, get it up to an hour. Once you get it in an hour, accumulate 5 hours per week. And once you are doing that comfortably, then you can do some other things, some other helpful things. Higher intensity stuff, lifting some weights, participating in an aerobics class, all of those kinds of things. And the reason you want to be doing this kind of stuff is simply because our objective here, remember, is to improve insulin resistance. The better our body is at burning fat, the better our insulin resistance becomes. And, or stated alternatively, the better our body becomes at burning fat, the lower our insulin resistance, the higher our insulin sensitivity, and the better, as a result of those changes, the better our body gets at controlling blood sugar. So those are the 4 things that you've got to focus in on. I hope you were able to take some notes. And if you have some questions, please type them in. I'll address them. This video is not going anywhere, so you'll be able to come back and watch it. If you forget something or you want to come back and watch it. In addition to that, you can always come back and comment on it. We also encourage you to like our Facebook page so you can stay up to date with us. That's number 1. And then number 2, for those of you that are here, have been in and out, we're going to post, I'm going to post as soon as we get done here in a few minutes, I'm going to post a link to where you can get your free gifts. And there's a list of the things that you get. And so what are those things? I'm going to talk about those right now. One is an audio. Earlier in the talk when we were discussing food, I talked about how you get hungry, right? We've got to feed your body so it's not hungry all the time. Well, the audio is from a live presentation that I gave to one of our employer groups. There's probably 25 or 30 people there on how the body gets hungry. So you get the audio from that, and I think it's 45 minutes to an hour, something like that. So you get that audio. You can put that on your phone, just download it to your computer, wherever you want. The second gift is a meal planner. You can't, a lot of the stuff I told you today is valuable information, and it's very helpful to get you going down the road you need to get going on to improve insulin resistance. But you can't just do this off the top of your head. You can't just decide in 2 minutes, I'm going to make all these changes and get better. You've got to have a plan on how you're going to do that. And part of that is, what are you going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for these days? There's a meal planner guide that you'll be able to download. It's a 1-sheet PDF, and all it is a place for you to write down what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. In order to fill that out, you can get the other bonus that's available to you there when I post up the link here. There's a sample shopping list. It's a sample. It gives you an idea of things to go and buy at the grocery store, but use it to make your list and pick foods that you like, so that then you can create the meals that you're going to have for this week. And you start following that those meal plans that you've devised, and I promise you, you're going to be less hungry because you're feeding your body. Your body's going to get better at burning fat tissue because we've reduced our insulin and blood sugar levels. And as a result, your body is going to, your insulin is going to be less resistant or more sensitive, and your blood sugar is going to get under better control. That's how things happen. Now, the last thing I'll mention before I get off here is I talked about the Academy, and that it's a serious program for serious people. And what does that mean? Well, it means that for people that are enrolled in the Academy as an individual, we're dedicated to helping them because they're serious and dedicated about getting better. Those are the people we love working with, the people we love helping. The normal enrollment for that includes a bunch of stuff: Skype calls, one-on-one coaching, all of our videos, everything that they need to be successful. It's a tremendous value proposition because we get people off their meds and we give them back their life. Whatever kind of dreams they have for taking care of their family, volunteering in the community, making their community a better place, or becoming good at something, whatever their dreams are, we help them do that because when they sign up, we know they're serious, and that helps keep us dedicated to helping them because, man, those are the kind of people we love. But just a heads up, the normal cost to get into that program is almost $4,000 for the whole year. If you're excited and you want to enroll in the program today, at the list there where you can download your gifts, there's an option to enroll for less than $2,500. So it's a really good deal that we're giving those of you that participated and listened into our video today. You get all the stuff, plus it's like on steroids, this program, and our dedication to helping you get better. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off today. If you have questions, I can stick around and answer some of them. But once we get done here and I finish this video, I'm going to post a link for you to go and get the free gifts. And then you can go through that process, because it's you have to confirm your email, and then we'll send you the link and all that stuff. But if there are no questions, I'm going to sign off, and I'm going to tell you thank you for being here today. I appreciate you participating. And I want to finish off on this. The condition that you have or are at risk for having, this type 2 diabetes thing, it's a serious, serious deal. And being here today is a step in the right direction, because the standard information that you get to get better is not going to help you. You've got to do things differently if you want to have a different outcome, which is, the value of you. You want to be healthier, be better, all those things. That's what we're talking about. And if you can do that on your own, I will be cheering you all the way. If you want us to help you, we will be cheering you on the way, supporting you, providing the direction you need. Maybe you need a kick in the ass. We'll be here to give you a kick in the ass too. So thank you, and I'm signing off, and I appreciate you being here today. Bye-bye.